Hi everyone, and welcome back to Project No Buy. In today's video, we're going to be talking about buying in person versus buying online, and the situations in which it might be better to do one or the other. So this is an interesting video journal today because this was a topic that I had done some reflection on prior to the purchases at the end of January, and then the purchases that unfolded made me reconsider what I originally journaled about. And so that's the journey I'm going to be taking you on in today's reflection. So buying online versus buying in person. The first purchase I was contemplating making during this year, Project No Buy 2025, was a birthday purchase from the makeup store Sephora. And here I have to make the interjection because I got a lot of comments about unsubscribing from email mailers or promos like that to be alerted about the free birthday gift. I did not receive an email about this free birthday gift. I didn't receive any promo about either the Sephora or the Thrift Books birthday rewards. I just know my brain still needs to unsubscribe from these internal mailing whatever triggers for the offers that I'm just aware of. And I guess the step to eliminate myself from being eligible for the birthday gifts would be to completely cancel my Sephora account. I think it's like a beauty insider thing that I only signed up for a couple of years ago. So it's not like I've been doing this for decades or, a large portion of my life, my adult life or whatever. But I will look into doing that actually, because I don't actually know if there are any other benefits that I need, or I mean, goodness knows I don't actually need any of those, but I don't actually know if there's any practical reason to stay a member or have an account or whatever. And so that's maybe the way to remove access from myself to receiving that free birthday gift. That's just on my mental radar. I did not receive anything in my email inbox. I did already unsubscribe from all these things in 2024. So there's that. And I consciously decided to make that purchase online because I initially thought that if I went to the store in person, that I would be tempted by all the shiny things in the store. I would be tempted to try new things that I didn't know that I wanted or needed. And I would maybe come away with things that I wasn't planning on buying, especially if I went in to just get the free birthday gift and not try to purchase anything. And then I did the video of legitimate replacements and, kind of the prep work for that video, and realized that I will be running out of my foundation-based type product fairly soon and will eventually need to replace it. So I can use that as the purchase requirement to get the free birthday gift, either online or in person, if I didn't feel good about going in and asking for the free gift and walking out, right? Which is how they get you, because they know most people will not be comfortable going in for the freebie and not actually spending any money. So anyway, I had that purchase plan where the legitimate replacement was coming up and I could use that to get the free birthday gift. And so I thought, okay, I will make this purchase online so that I will not be tempted to look, to browse, to be attracted to the shiny new things in stores. However, what ended up happening is that because it was browsing online, I think for multiple reasons, maybe more security, being in my own home, in my comfort zone, not being surrounded by other people, accountability partners, even strangers can be accountability in public, salespeople, and just going through the whole experience of getting dressed, driving to a store, all the trappings that come with it, right? Without having to do all that and just being in the comfort of browsing on my phone, again, not a good place to be making purchases. It doesn't really matter, I guess, even on a computer. To me, it's still kind of the same problematic behavior. For other people, it might be more problematic to shop on a phone versus a computer or whatever. But anyway, for me, I was browsing online and found myself getting linked to different products, right? Similar products you might like to try, your list of favorites from years past or whatever. And I don't exactly know, I couldn't tell you what the trigger was for adding the 2 items that I did add to that order, besides perhaps seeing one of them. I think I saw the blush linked on the website where I was browsing, right? And then I may have also then, because I chose the mini of that, been linked to other mini products. So I might have been prey to linking for both of these additional products that I added. And again, I talked about what I actually bought in videos previously, so I won't go into deep details of that here. But basically, I planned to make this order and then found a couple of other things that I justified myself into buying for my birthday. Anyway, so because of this idea that going in person would be so dangerous and so detrimental and so full of temptation, I then kind of set myself up for online temptation. And I don't know if you are also kind of like this, where maybe being in your comfort zone, being alone, being free from judgment, I guess, because you're not in public, you're not surrounded by other people, is actually the more dangerous way to operate, to shop, in other words. The more dangerous and tempting environment, right? Free from potential observation, I guess. And I guess in some ways, when we're watched, we behave differently, right? There's studies on that. I don't have them handy, but we kind of have this innate feeling, right? If we know we're being watched, we do act differently, arguably better in some cases, or, behave with more care, I guess, because we know we're being observed. We know somebody else could be passing judgment on us. And so I guess the big realization for the end of January, for the end of January purchases is that actually going in person really is not the temptation minefield that I made it out to be in my mind. And I don't even know if my initial journal entry here was my mind again kind of setting up this protective barrier of, oh, if you do it online, it's safer, telling myself that false narrative. And, here I am breaking it down with you, hopefully. The other thing that really gave me a case study of why shopping in person is not more detrimental is because I made that second makeup purchase in the Ulta store when we had to go in there for my husband's shampoo. And so because I already had these products kind of on my on my radar, on my wish list, dare I say, I decided to go look at those products. And I guess one of two things could have happened, right? I could have either seen them and been underwhelmed and thought, okay, this is not worth buying, and it would have saved me the want of that thing. Or the thing that actually happened, which is me going and looking at it and thinking, wow, this is actually living up to my expectations, and coming away with the things that I thought I wanted and then confirmed that I wanted and would use. And the thing is, though, I went in there with two products on my radar and only tried and came out with those two products. And so despite being in this massive store full of other temptations and having the freedom to look at them, my husband knows I'm on a project no buy, but he also knows that there are birthday exceptions, and, he's not micromanaging my no buy moves or missteps, right? So it's not like that was a deterrent necessarily as far as having somebody with me. But for whatever reason, I was not inundated with shiny new things that I hadn't seen before, that I didn't know to want when I went into the store. And I still don't know that that's never going to happen. In fact, I do have stories where I go into a store and I see something that I suddenly am gripped with the fire of 1,000 suns of desire for, right? That's kind of what happened with some of the boots that I purchased last year. And again, I'm not going to bring up too much about the details. I did talk about them in the video of everything I bought in 2024. So there have been instances where I've been in a store and saw something that I didn't know that I wanted and suddenly really wanted it. So I guess the jury's still out. I don't have a single answer as far as when it's better to shop in person versus online. And I guess as I reflect openly with you here, it does seem like there are some online retailers that are more dangerous than others, right? The Sephora store has those links at the bottom of other products you might like. I think Amazon does this too, although it's been a while since I've been on there, so I'm not really sure. And then there are stores where you kind of search for one specific item and that's all that's on the screen when you're browsing or looking for it. Again, drop your experiences in the comments below, because in my journey of trying to minimize my experience on shopping sites, I might be missing a few of the details that might, they may still be fresh in your mind. Again, not making assumptions about your shopping or your shopping habits. Maybe you're here and you don't have a shopping problem, and therefore you can look at these things without being triggered or whatever. I guess the other thing about shopping in person is that you have that ability to try before you buy. And that is one of the things that I have journaled about as well, how buying something in order to try it is a really bad idea. And by the time you've already got that thing that you purchased to try in your house, it's going to be 1,000 times more difficult to try it and then send it back than it is to go to the store and try it, even if it feels 1,000 times more difficult in the moment to go to the store, right? When you are able to try it without owning it, without having it in your house, it's easier to walk away than it is to do all the work of sending an item back, taking it out of your house after it's already made its way into your house. And I guess the other thing is that once you've already spent the money, it doesn't really feel like you're going to get it back when you return it. Even if you do, at least for me, sometimes it doesn't really feel like you are saving the money because you have already spent it. It has already kind of left the account. I know the girl math principle is that when you make a return, you're making money. And so that's, maybe where that comes from as far as the money's already left. So you already kind of feel like it's gone. Is that wise? No. Is that just kind of how it feels sometimes? For me, yes. And I guess the other thing with clothing or clothing adjacent purchases is that when you go in person, you can really feel the quality of the material. You can try it on and see how it looks on you. And once again, when you're not in your home and it's not already there with you, it's so much easier to just put it back or to see the flaws in the quality before you actually own it, before you've committed to the decision of buying it. At which point I do feel like we will justify, some quality issues to ourselves, or at least I will, because I made the decision to purchase the item. It's almost like I have to defend my sanity or my reason, oh, it's not that bad. I still like it. It's nice or whatever, because I chose to buy it and I don't want to go through the hassle of returning it or admitting that I was wrong. Maybe that's another facet of it, right? I don't want to admit failure or admit that I made a bad choice. Whereas when I'm in the store evaluating, it's not a choice that I've made yet, right? I'm just browsing, I'm just looking. And, maybe these are the ways that online retailers kind of get you to buy more than you need or buy things that are lower quality than you would accept by focusing so much on their online presence and the online links and the online, affiliate marketing and influencers even. These are ways to explode that market of online shopping, I guess. Another thing that I put in my journal here regarding the makeup purchasing is that sometimes makeup feels more fun to buy than it does to use. And I think that's a clear testimony that for me, makeup is maybe not one of my true passions as far as hobbies or creative outlets or self-expression even, if it's more fun for me to shop for than it is to actually use. And I do want to flip that around, right? I don't necessarily want to become a makeup person if I'm not inherently a makeup person. I just did a video talking about how personal style is kind of a myth or whatever. And again, hyperbole, you can go watch the video. Don't get mad at me for what I say off the cuff here, please. But it does say something about when shopping for something is more fun than actually using the thing. Are there any categories like that for you in your lives? Do you have crafting hobbies that are more fun to buy for than to actually do? Let me know. There are things that I do already tend to buy in person and would not really consider buying online. And those are the consumables, things like coffee. I prefer to go to a local roaster to buy those. Things like soap and shampoo, I do typically prefer to buy at the store rather than online. And it's kind of interesting to think about why it's not as attractive or fun to buy those online, and how, I have actually seen some no-buy creators advise that you save some of these purchases for making online when you feel the urge to shop. But for me, it was never really a suitable substitute, right? Like buying toilet paper online is not going to cure the urge I have for buying something shiny and new and something that I want, right? Like it's not always the act of the purchase, although sometimes it might be. I did talk about that in my January recap, I think, how sometimes the item is irrelevant, but I guess sometimes it's not, right? It's not always black and white. It can be multiple feelings and multiple pathways at the same time. But in general, I don't really feel like the things that I legitimately need are fun to shop for online, if that makes sense. There's no thrill of the hunt. I already know what I need, and I'm just going to go get the thing that I typically use. And so I guess that's why for things like the coffee, like the shampoo, like the toiletries or whatever, I will go in person. I will go to the actual store, and there's not this kind of worry that I'll be tempted to buy something additional off of the list of things that I actually need. And I guess the lingering question is, how do I get more and more things into that category of things that I wouldn't buy extra of if I went into a store? So I guess I'm thinking of instances like if I were to go thrifting for a specific article of clothing, there is still a danger that I would see something else that I liked and come home with more than the one thing I was looking for. Whereas if I go to a coffee shop for a bag of coffee, I'm not going to come out with anything that I didn't plan to buy, right? And I guess even if I did, the worst that would happen is that I bought a fancy cup of espresso or something, right? Like I'm not going to buy the mugs or the trinkets or the doodads, right? Like, I'm not going to be tempted to buy something material when I came in for something consumable, if that makes sense. And is that the difference? Is that the crux of the matter when I go clothes shopping, or I guess even makeup shopping to a degree? Like, I'm shopping for something material, and therefore the material is all on the table, and I can start wanting and buying more things. Or, prior to the constraints of a no-buy, I could start wanting and buying more of the things that I was seeing. When I'm shopping at the grocery store, it's pretty rare that I feel like I have a lingering desire for something, even if I don't buy it, right? Like, it's not exactly the same as far as being in a department store and seeing a shirt that I like and leaving without it and still thinking about it the next day, right? It's not the same kind of urge. It's not the same kind of, is this the core of the matter being the wants versus the needs, and things you truly need are not things that you will want in the same way? So anyway, to tie all this together, I think the renewed bottom line for me is that I must avoid online shopping. And it doesn't matter what kind of reasons I think are better, or make it safer, make it more wise. I'm probably wrong, and I'm probably setting myself up to buy more than I wanted to by shopping online, unless it's something I truly cannot get in person at a store. No matter how long I have to wait for it, no matter how inconvenient it may be, no matter how I have to get put together and drive in the car and make time and take kids or whatever it requires, I should do that. I should go to the store. I should make the time and test out the thing if it's something that I haven't used before, or just avoid the temptation of the online marketplace, of the marketers' masterfully crafted websites that suggest you other things, that tell you what other people liked, that say that this pairs well with this or whatever it is, the things that are shown to us, and focus on that aspect of recalibrating my shopping habit. And I guess as a final point in favor of that, the experience I had with the makeup purchases, unboxing the Sephora online order, did have that aspect of mental pain or mental kind of regret, where I saw all the little pieces of plastic and felt the deep unsustainability of that, versus going into the Ulta store and coming out with just the 2 pieces of merchandise that I wanted and ended up buying. I didn't have the excess paper, the bubbles, the little torn up pieces of cardboard or whatever to support the little products and things like that. I didn't have the sachets of samples. I just had what I came in for. Maybe with the cardboard box around the product, but that's about it, versus all of the tiny little pieces of plastic and detritus or whatever, however you say that. There's got to be one mispronounced word in every video, right? From the online order from Sephora. And so I'm going to try to remember this experience and remember this discussion and stick to the commitment of not buying online and buying in person, not browsing online either, and trying to go in person whenever possible, and see how that goes. Let me know how you're doing in your shopping endeavors, whether you found similar things in the experience of shopping online versus in person. I would really love to know as well, is there any kind of more temptation territory, more danger zone territory that you have when shopping in person versus online? Is there ever a circumstance for you that it's better to do the online version? Let me know. And with that, I will say bye for now, and see you in the next one.